Hey friends, Victor Pisano with Charge Up. Normally we would call this our question on the street. However, because of social distancing, this is now question on the Zoom. And we're going to be doing our question on the Zoom with my good friend, Tom Damiani, entrepreneur and owner of Damiani Comfort Design here in San Antonio, Texas. Tom and I have known each other maybe going on 10 years, have supported his business, but more importantly, have really developed a strong friendship, both of our families and our kids. And I wanted to have Tom on for Question on the Streets because Tom is the epitome of a servant leader. He is the type of person who is always willing to volunteer, always willing to assist, and he's extremely transparent. So, Tom, these are extraordinary times. Let me ask you, how are you as a leader handling this crisis that you can't forecast the beginning, the middle, or the end of? You are just going day to day and trying to develop a plan. How are you handling crisis management for your company?
Well, first of all, Victor, thank you for the introduction, and I'm honored that you asked me to be part of this thing. To answer the question, it's hard to answer, to be honest with you, because we've never gone through something like this. And you're a business person. I'm a business person. It's really easy to do your forecast and work your forecast. And, usually all I got to deal with is weather. What's the weather like? Is it hot? Is it cold? How do I have to react to that? And this pandemic brought all of that absolutely null and void, because it does not matter what your forecast says. It does not matter. It does matter some at the hot weather, because the hot weather, obviously, units are going to break in my business. But as a whole, in society, it doesn't matter right now. And so you really have to spend a lot of time, number one, understanding the animal that you're facing. What is this? Because we know what we're into right now, but we have no idea to know how long it's going to last. And so I'm evolving daily as a business person, in trying to figure this out, because, I've got crisis management. You want to know what the problem is. You want to have a plan to attack that problem. But usually we're dealing with a car accident. How severe is it? Is somebody hurt, or is it just a fender bender? Somebody hurts themselves. Is it a cut finger, or did they break a bone? Now we're talking about the entire country shutting down. That's unprecedented. And so I have a lot of things I've done to this point, but you got to educate yourself. You got to know the animal you're fighting with right now, because this isn't about survival as much as it is about how are you going to adapt to what you're facing, and how fast can you change to adapt your company to survive. Does that make sense?
It does, because I think, especially with you, it's almost like a matrix of things you're having to handle. Obviously, the business first and foremost. Second, your employees. Third, your suppliers. There are so many intricate parts that make this up. And to your point, how you're managing day by day by day. I know it's been, 7-day weeks for you, 18-hour days. It's just because you're trying to make the most of the situation, figure out a way to push through it, working with your employees, being incredibly transparent. Do you find that as a local business and as somebody who has worked hard to earn the respect of so many customers over the years that you've been here in San Antonio, do you find it easier to know that there are people that have your back in the community?
Yes, it obviously helps to have loyal customers, but those loyal customers are scared right now too. And so part of this crisis management that you have to do as a business is, number one, you got to educate your employees, because they're your front line. They're the ones that are talking to the customers more than I am. And so you got to educate them on, hey, here's the good, the bad, the ugly. Here is what we're going to do, A, B, C, and D, so that people feel comfortable with us. Because unlike other businesses, to do what we have to do, we have to come into your house.
Yeah.
And right now, people are scared to death to get within, 6 feet of social distancing of anybody. And so our survival is upon having a plan in place that people trust you enough, which goes to your thing about trust you enough to allow you in. And so what we are doing is we're just trying to educate people on the phone. Hey, here are the things that Damiani's Comfort Design is doing. We're taking everybody's temperature every single morning. I have a spreadsheet, and you can see, you can't see it's on the computer, but I've got a spreadsheet. I take everybody's temperature every morning. I feel like a mother nurse in here. Everybody comes in my office, and I take their temperature.
Lines up.
Yeah, they line up. And so I want to document that everybody that started today is healthy. And then whenever they come in throughout the day, I take their temperature again. I had to go find Clorox wipes, gloves, masks. What disappeared overnight in the entire country? Hand sanitizer, masks, Clorox wipes. You can't find them anywhere, any place. So
everything you need.
I got lucky, and I had some gloves on hand. I had some masks that I had found because we blow in insulation in people's houses. And so I had to go get those off the truck, and I had to hand them to the guy and say, okay, these are gold. Because what you have to do is that earning that trust in the past has changed now. Because now they trust me to come in their house to fix their problem. But I have to bring that to a whole nother level, that they trust that I am going to send a healthy body into, or as much as I know, healthy, into their house. But flip that. I can't just be concerned about them anymore. I have to be concerned about my employees. And so picture this. You go from thankful that somebody calls you, gratitude, you always talk about gratitude they called you. And now I'm going to ask you a question. Hey, Mr. Pisano, has anybody in your house traveled outside the country recently? Are you sick? Is anybody in your house sick? You're asking them personal questions as a business that through all of my years of being in business, you just don't do that.
Absolutely.
And so the paradigm shift has just been incredible. The reception from the customers has been wonderful. They're thankful to answer those questions because they're happy that I'm caring enough not only about them. Hey, these are the things we're doing. We're going to send these people in your house, but are you healthy for my guy to come to?
And it's a two-way street.
It is so crazy right now.
Yeah, because it's an interview process at the beginning. I can imagine.
It really is. Even for customers that we've been going to for 20 years, we still have to ask the same questions.
So I can assume that, you've never seen anything like this before. None of us have. But let me ask you this. With your experience and the way you've always done business, your management style, do you think you had an advantage as opposed to the other small business owners who may just rely on panicking?
Oh, absolutely, because I've always been a very transparent person. As you know, being my friend, everybody always knows exactly where they stand with me, good, bad, or indifferent. I am transparent. But I run my business that way. We have, weekly meetings with everybody, and everybody knows where they stand and what our goals are and what we're trying to strive to accomplish. So when this happened, the very first thing I did, number one, I wanted to, the first thing you want to do is say, they're just blowing this out of proportion, politics, blah. And then all of a sudden you start to see the deaths. You start seeing how fast it's spreading. You start to see all those things. So you got to take a step back and you say, okay, this is real. Now we need to deal with it. And what I said earlier, the people that adapt faster are going to survive. The people that fight it are going to die. And I'm not saying die literally. I'm saying their businesses could shut down. And so getting ahead of this thing was crucial because, number one, immediately, not knowing what I'm dealing with, I got to start, one of my things I have in you got to assess real quick, what is the impact to your business going to be and how are you going to avert that? And so the very first thing was I got to calm my guys down because they have to feel confident enough going into homes. So what am I going to do so that they want to come to work? Because thankfully, heating and air conditioning companies are essential businesses. So I was not one of the ones that was shut down and said, close your doors. I was one that said, hey, I got all these people in the houses, and if their air conditioners break, you got to go fix them. And so I had to get them comfortable with, hey, they're going to look to me. What are we doing? And right away, I cleared my house out of all our Clorox wipes. My wife had some at the school. They're shut down. So she went up to the school and she got those. So I was able to arm every single truck with a big roll of Clorox wipes. I had enough gloves already that everybody had gloves and they had their masks. So I said, these are the things that we're going to do. these are the questions that we're going to ask the customers, because I had to make sure that my people were comfortable, that I had their best interest at heart. Because at the end of the day, there's a balancing act between staying in business, revenue, and caring. And if you're, I call it, if one is above the other, then you'll never succeed like you want to. And so you have to be equal. Your revenue's got to match your caring for your customer, and it's got to match your caring for your employee. And if those things match, you're going to proceed and you're going to get through things. If they don't, then to your statement, if it's a top-down dictatorship in a business, those people may not have the confidence that that person has their best interest at heart. And so I had to make some tough decisions. I had to get my office staff. I went to 4-day weeks with them right away. I had to make phone calls to my suppliers and tell them, listen, I know I've always paid my bills, but I may not be. I don't know what I'm into here. And so it's been a very stressful 3 weeks. It really has been. But you got to stay ahead of it, and you got to your plan has to stay ahead of that, or it'll catch you, and it'll catch you fast.
It is trusting to hear the owner of the company tell you, we've taken every proactive measure possible. And we are an essential business because, you're right, we're in Texas, and it can be 70 one day and 99 the next. And if there's a problem, you have to trust somebody. I think you've done a great job with that. And that's experience. That's got to be experience, isn't it?
Well, it's experience, but it also I'm not saying, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but the businesses that you see do that, you see the fabric of the company in what they stand for. And I'm very old school in how I run my business, how I run my family, how I am friends with my friends groups, and being transparent all the time. And so I'm me. My company is me. And so I just felt it was more important right now to let people know what we're doing and what we have to help them, rather than, hey, get a tune-up from us. Hey, come, we'll fix your, or put a new system in, or whatever that is. I got to believe that that's going to happen, but they needed to hear some normalcy and a plan of attack of how we're going to get through this.
Yeah. So again, question on the street turns into question via Zoom. I want to thank you, Tom, for being a part of this and talking about crisis management, because this is the first time in 2 years of doing this that this subject has come up. And like I said, nobody better to do it. I appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck. Hope you, your family, your employees, everybody stays healthy. And tell people where they can find you if they're in the Central Texas area.
If you're down in the San Antonio area, you can get me at comfortdesigntexas.com, or you can call me 210-646-9600.
Good deal. Tom, I sincerely appreciate it. Have a great day. You want to close us out?
Hey, Victor, charge up.
I like that. But you got a point, remember? Don't forget, my friends.
Don't forget, my friends. Charge up.
Charge up. I love it. Good job, Tom. Thank you.
All right, thanks.